So we had, or I had, should I say, here in Taiwan since I've been here, which is not very long really. Um, so I've been here in Taiwan now 2 months, and just when you start to think, I'm getting the hang of this, I'm getting used to this place, um, I had, as you can see from the thumbnail, which I've put up, I had a presidential alert come through on my phone, and there was it was a bit for a short moment it was a little bit scary because I could only read some of it. I could read presidential alert, that was in English. The rest of it was in Chinese, which I couldn't read, and I put it through Google Translate quite quickly, and it basically said something like warning, missile fired into Taiwan airspace. And I was like, oh, maybe this is serious. Um, and then I quickly looked on some of the local Taiwan um, Facebook pages that I'm on, and I could equally see some people on those pages kind of, um, not knowing the full story, what's going on, do we need to take action, etc. Um, so for, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes until I figured out what was actually going on, I was thinking, oh, am I in trouble here? English guy in Taiwan, missile being fired into Taiwan airspace from China. And I'm thinking, do I need to take action? Do I need to worry? Um, so that was a learning curve for me. And, it's quite funny how your mind works in those situations because literally in the space of 5 minutes, I started thinking, is this. I mean, even I can't believe I started thinking like this, but I genuinely started thinking, is this somewhere I want to live? Is this the type of place I want to raise a family? Is this somewhere I want to devote my future to? I really started thinking quite serious thoughts like this. And then, 10 minutes later, once I'd realized what it was and understood it, I kind of felt stupid for even thinking those things. But, you know, I think the problem is in the West, we are very much used to the media, um, especially the BBC, putting out very kind of uh, over exaggerated, terrifying stories, you know, and what seems like a very normal day to day thing here in Taiwan, in the West or in the UK where I'm from, um, the media really do turn into a huge big thing. So, for example, if China has some sort of naval exercise, um, that's not necessarily even in or close to Taiwan, the Taiwan Strait, the BBC will pick up on this and sort of say, "Oh, China's, launching military vessels close to Taiwan," and they turn it into a big thing. So I think in the West, the British media very much tries to kind of almost brainwash you into the whole Taiwan China thing. Oh, it's dangerous, it's bad, stay away. You know, um, when in actual fact, here the locals, it's just another day, and I mean, I might things could change quite quickly from the moment I upload this video, I suppose, because the election for the Taiwan, the presidential election and here in Taiwan is only days away now. So I have, you know, again, I don't know much about it, and I'm not obviously eligible to vote here, but so I guess even though I've taken a little bit of an interest in it, you know, into the candidates and what have you, I guess I haven't really taken as much interest in it as I would if I was back home in the UK, because I'm not eligible to vote here. So to me, I don't put a whole lot of time into things that I can't do anything about. Um, but interestingly enough, I spoke to a couple of locals today who, you know, they brought the subject up of they're worried about certain individuals being elected because they're quite friendly with China and they want to um, kind of, you know, Taiwan to become part of China or something. Um, you know, what can I say? I don't feel necessarily qualified enough to really comment on it. As I said, I'm not eligible to vote. I'm a guest in this country. Um, I think it's for the locals to decide what happens in the future. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting thing to share with you guys. The missile alert, and anyway, it turned out to be um, yeah. So that the message did say missile fired from China into Taiwan airspace. Well, anyway, it turned out to be a satellite rocket that was being launched from China into space. And since then, the Taiwan government sort of said to people, you know, broadcasted to people, they were concerned about any falling debris from the actual rocket that might, you know, come down into Taiwan. And of course, if anyone finds anything or notices anything falling from the sky, um, contact the local fire department. Um, I mean, I suppose equally that to me is still quite kind of scary in a way, because again, it's not something I'm used to. But I've kind of just taken it on board as something that, like many other things here in Taiwan, I'm gonna have to adapt to and get used to. And you know, as I said, I've been here just a little over 2 months now, and it's actually amazing when I think about it how quickly I have adapted to so many differences here in Taiwan compared to back home in the UK. And I've certainly had moments, without a doubt, I've had a lot of moments in those 2 months where I have been very homesick. I've missed the most simple, basic things that I wouldn't even think about if I was in the UK, to be honest with you. Um, and I've definitely had hard times thinking, you know, there has certainly been a lot of times when I've thought I just want to go back to the UK, and then I've and then I've kind of sat with that thought and thought, hang on a minute, okay, let's think this through. Imagine you go back to the UK. Okay, then what? Think further than that. Then what? And that's the thought process. Because once you start thinking, okay, what am I going to do when I get back to the UK? How am I going to feel? I know exactly what the answer is. I'll be bitching and moaning about the UK, and I'll most likely regret leaving Taiwan, all because I couldn't stick it out long enough to adapt and get used to the place. And I think things like the presidential alert that I got on my phone, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was scary until I realized what it was about, and once I spoke to some locals. But there's, I know that there's going to be a lot more things like this in the future here that I'm not used to, that I've never experienced before, that I've never seen before, and that I don't know how to deal with. Um, and every day, as a as a new person, as a newbie in Taiwan, every day is a learning curve. It really, really is. But equally, I mean, look at me right now. I'm walking around. That is the train goes over that bridge. That's the railway. And there's a park underneath it. Now it's 2 o'clock in the morning here, and I figured I'd come out for a walk, and then I figured I'd do a video, because I can't sleep. I would not be walking around like this in the UK at 2 o'clock in the morning in a dark place like this by myself. It wouldn't happen in the UK. I just wouldn't dream of it. I'd get mugged. This phone that I've got in my hand would be snapped out my hand, and I'd probably end up with a knife in my back. So I feel very, very lucky to be in a place, to live in a country that, number one, has democracy. I mean, even though I've just been talking about the election, I don't really understand it fully. I know enough about politics. I've been involved in politics in the UK, so I certainly respect the democratic process, and the freedom that comes with that, freedom of choice. Um, and I am very, very grateful that I can live in a country that has accepted me and that has allowed me to come and live here and start a new life. And yeah, welcome me with open arms. And I'm able to start a new life here. I'm able to work here. I'm able to have a reasonably comfortable life here. It isn't easy. As I said, every day is a learning curve. I think the hardest thing for me is probably learning the language, and communicating until I learn the language. It's getting a little bit easier because I'm picking up a little bit every day, but it's still very slow for me, um, because I've learned a little bit of other languages before, such as a little bit of Spanish, German, French, and I find those languages very easy to pick up, especially when I'm in those countries. Whereas Mandarin Chinese, it's not like any other language I've ever had to learn or speak before, so I'm finding it very, very difficult to retain and remember and use. I mean, actually, I enjoy trying to use it every day. I set myself a challenge to try and learn words and then try and use those words on a daily basis so I can retain them, remember them. But it's not as easy for me. But equally, I've had a lot of locals say very similar things to me, that even the locals have said to me, yes, Chinese is a very difficult language to learn, and especially for English people. You know, they recognize that, which is really, really good. Um, so that's my little 2 a.m. Uh, speech about the ongoings of life for me in Taiwan, I suppose, and the presidential alert, which I will put in the thumbnail, and Google Translate has translated it. Most of it was in Chinese when it came through to me, but yes, it's much more obviously legible in the translated version. So I thank you all for watching my videos and, you know, sticking with this channel. It means a lot to me. Some of you have been really, really nice enough to even send me comments, really, really nice supportive comments. I know that my videos aren't, you know, as professional as some of the YouTubers on the platform, but that's another thing I'm kind of trying to learn, I guess, you know, video editing and what have you, you know, just everything that comes with doing YouTube, I suppose. But it's fun. I enjoy learning that. But yeah, a big thank you for those who have stuck with the channel, who watch the videos, and who have subscribed. And for those who have left the odd comment, I really do appreciate those comments. Obviously, if you have not subscribed, please do. It really does help the channel, and it makes me feel a whole bunch better too. So thanks very much, guys, and I'll see you the next time.